What if I told you that your empty bank account is not a money problem, but an obedience problem? That statement may feel uncomfortable. It may challenge the narrative you have been telling yourself for years. Maybe you have blamed the economy. Maybe you have blamed your background, your education, your family history, your lack of connections, or even bad luck. But what if the real issue is not external at all? What if the gap between where you are financially and where you are supposed to be is not about access, but about alignment? Right now, at this very moment, heaven has already allocated resources with your name on them. Opportunities have been prepared. Ideas have been released. Relationships are forming. Doors are positioned. Provision exists in potential form. The question is not whether God has provided. The question is whether you are positioned to receive. There is a gap between what has been released and what you are currently experiencing. And that gap is not about faith alone. It is not about how loud you pray. It is not about how long you fast. It is not about luck, timing, or random blessing. That gap exists because divine principles have not been activated consistently in your life. Most believers treat financial breakthrough like a lottery ticket. They hope one day God will suddenly decide to pour out unexpected wealth. They imagine prosperity as an emotional act of divine generosity disconnected from structure. But God does not operate on randomness. He operates on laws. The same God who created gravity also created financial principles. When you drop something, it falls. You do not negotiate with gravity. You do not convince gravity. You align with gravity. In the same way, when you align with kingdom principles, outcomes follow, not occasionally, not unpredictably, consistently. The first divine command that unlocks overflow is the command of priority. In the Gospel of Matthew 6:33, Jesus says, "Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you." That word first is everything. Not second, not eventually, not after security is established. First, the kingdom operates on order. Order determines flow. When priority is misplaced, provision becomes delayed. Most people say they put God first, but their schedules and spending tell a different story. When you wake up, what commands your attention? Is it purpose or pressure? Is it calling or crisis? When you receive income, what receives the first portion? Is it consumption or contribution? Is it impulse or intention? The truth is revealed in patterns, not proclamations. If we examined your last 30 days of time and spending, would it demonstrate that God's agenda governs your life, or would it show that survival and comfort sit at the top? The kingdom principle is simple but profound. When you make God's agenda your primary focus, He makes your provision His responsibility. That does not mean irresponsibility. It does not mean quitting your job recklessly. It means internal realignment. It means decisions filtered through purpose rather than fear. It means asking, will this choice advance what I am called to build? Instead of asking, will this make me temporarily comfortable? Consider someone who chooses a career path purely based on salary potential, ignoring gifting, calling, and alignment. They may earn well for a season, but burnout eventually sets in. Fulfillment diminishes, creativity dries up. But when someone chooses alignment first and commits to excellence within that space, provision often follows in unexpected ways. Alignment attracts sustainability. Sustainability attracts growth. The command of priority also demands trust. Trust that obedience will not result in loss. Trust that generosity will not create lack. Trust that service will not eliminate security. Fear whispers that prioritizing God will leave you behind. Faith understands that prioritizing God positions you ahead in ways that are not immediately visible. The person who aligns earlier often accelerates later. The second command is the command of excellence. In the book of Proverbs 22:29, it says, "Do you see a man who excels in his work? He will stand before kings." Excellence is not about perfectionism. It is about intentional value creation. Wealth flows toward value. Promotions follow value. Opportunities respond to value. And value is produced through excellence. Many people desire financial increase, but they resist skill development. They want promotion, but they avoid responsibility. They want recognition, but they cut corners. Excellence requires discipline when no one is watching. It requires consistency when applause is absent. It requires attention to detail in tasks that seem small. Excellence is a habit before it becomes a reputation. Two individuals can start at the same company with identical qualifications. One does the minimum required to avoid correction. The other studies the system, anticipates needs, solves problems before being asked, and communicates proactively. Within a year, their financial trajectories begin separating. The market rewards reliability and initiative. Excellence signals capacity. Capacity attracts trust. Trust precedes transfer. Excellence is also transferable. When you build mastery in one area, you develop discipline that applies to others. The mindset that refuses mediocrity at work often refuses mediocrity in health, relationships, and finances. Excellence compounds. It builds momentum. When combined with priority, it creates powerful alignment. You are not only honoring God with your life direction, you are honoring Him with the quality of your contribution. Excellence creates distinction in crowded spaces. In a marketplace saturated with average performance, excellence becomes rare, and rare value commands higher compensation. When you become undeniably good at what you do, you reduce competition. You create leverage. Leverage increases income potential. But excellence is not limited to employment. It includes communication, presentation, punctuality, emotional regulation, and problem solving. It includes how you respond under pressure. It includes whether you complain or create. Employers, clients, and partners notice patterns. Excellence builds trust capital. Trust capital converts into financial capital. The combination of priority and excellence creates positioning. You are aligned with purpose and equipped with skill. You are spiritually grounded and professionally competent. That combination is powerful. But positioning alone is not enough. Opportunity without management leads to loss. That is where stewardship enters. Financial overflow is not accidental. It is the result of repeated obedience. When priority governs your decisions and excellence governs your performance, you begin operating under divine structure. Structure stabilizes success. Stability prepares you for expansion. In the next part, we will go deeper into the command of stewardship and the command of giving, and how these two principles determine whether income grows, stagnates, or disappears. Because it is possible to earn more and still remain financially stuck, it is possible to increase revenue without increasing retention. And it is possible to accumulate without experiencing overflow. Overflow is not simply about earning. It is about alignment, value creation, multiplication, and circulation. When these four operate together, financial growth becomes sustainable rather than seasonal. 2:25:19 Amhanang Hazia 12:34. Now we move into the third command, and this is where most people unknowingly sabotage their financial future. You can prioritize correctly. You can pursue excellence aggressively. You can increase your income. But if you do not master stewardship, overflow will slip through your hands like water through open fingers. In the Gospel of Matthew 25, Jesus tells the parable of the talents. A master entrusts 3 servants with resources before leaving on a journey. One receives 5 talents, another 2, and another 1. Immediately, we see something important. The distribution was according to ability. Capacity determined allocation. 2 servants multiplied what they received. They took initiative. They engaged the marketplace. They assumed responsibility. The 3rd servant buried his portion out of fear. He preserved it, protected it, and avoided risk. When the master returned, he did not praise preservation. He rewarded multiplication and condemned stagnation. This parable reveals a powerful financial truth. Heaven measures faithfulness by multiplication, not maintenance. It is not enough to not lose what you have. You are expected to grow it. The command of stewardship is simple in wording, but demanding in practice. Multiply what has been entrusted to you. Stewardship is not about how much you make. It is about how you manage what you make. And many people believe their breakthrough is on the other side of a higher salary. But income without discipline does not create freedom. It amplifies existing habits. If you are careless with a small income, you will be overwhelmed by a larger one. If you are structured with a modest income, you will be empowered by a larger one. Consider someone earning $3,000 per month with no financial system. Bills are paid reactively. Spending is emotional. Savings are inconsistent. Debt accumulates quietly. There is constant stress because there is no visibility. The money feels insufficient, even if it technically covers expenses. Now imagine the same income with structure. Before the month begins, every dollar has a job. A portion is set aside for long-term growth, a portion for security, a portion for obligations, a portion for generosity. Spending is intentional rather than impulsive. Subscriptions are reviewed. Debt is attacked strategically. The difference is not income level. It is management level. Stewardship creates clarity. Clarity reduces anxiety. Anxiety reduction improves decision-making. Improved decisions increase opportunity. Opportunity increases income. Income managed well increases wealth. This is the compounding effect of discipline. Many people pray for financial blessing while ignoring financial systems. But God rarely overrides poor habits with supernatural abundance. Instead, he develops discipline first. The servant who proved faithful with 2 talents was given more. Capacity expanded through demonstrated responsibility. Stewardship also extends beyond money. It includes time management. If your calendar is chaotic, your income will eventually reflect that chaos. It includes skill investment. If you do not reinvest in your growth, your earning potential plateaus. It includes health management. If you neglect your body, medical expenses and lost productivity will consume future income. You cannot separate financial health from overall discipline. They are connected. Structure in one area supports growth in another. When you create systems, you reduce decision fatigue. When you reduce decision fatigue, you preserve energy. Preserved energy can be redirected toward creativity and income generation. The 4th command completes the system. It is the command of giving, and this is where many hesitate because it feels contradictory. In the Gospel of Luke 6:38, Jesus says, "Give, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." The imagery is abundance beyond containment. Overflow is not minimal return. It is excess. Giving operates on a circulation principle. Money that flows outward creates room for money to flow inward. When you give consistently, you shift your identity from consumer to contributor. That shift changes your mindset. Contributors look for ways to create value. Value creation increases demand. Demand increases income.